Baka gusto mag-share. Baka gusto mag-share ni Ronald kahit maikli lang. Ronald?
Good afternoon, everyone. By the way, I'm baby's son. One of my memory from Auntie Liat is way back before when I go overseas. I try to get validation for my cooking. So one day, she asked me to cook dinner for the whole family. Tito Ed was there, he knows that Tito Ed was there. So he asked me to do some food. I'm very grateful that she likes it and she approved it. And my question for her is, how is it? She told me it's okay. And that's the word that she get. And she told me that you're gonna be okay when you go there. Then that's the good validation for me to prove that my cooking is it's a tourist quality food. Yun lang.
Ang galing. Big deal po talaga kapag Mommy Ju approved yung pagkain.
Oh, pag in-approve niya is approved. When she says it's not good, it's not good.
Yeah, I remember that. Masarap yun, Ronald.
Okay. Yeah.
Ano ba ang tawag sa laureate ng Japanese? Parang laureate yun eh. Maraming courses, pero Japanese food.
Alam mo, matagal na ako din nag-Japanese.
Masarap. Yes.
Oh, but I promise, I even promise her that when I go back, I'm gonna cook a nice 3-course meal for her, but didn't happen because of COVID. We're supposed to go home last 2 years, but we couldn't go home because of that. So yeah. So yeah, she'll be missed. Even my daughter missed her. She's asking when are we going to see her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. Yeah.
Thank you, Ronald.
Okay.
And anyone from the Apos, like Bree or Nate, anything to share?
I have a short, but it was on Facebook. I think
it's
everyone.
Okay. My parents don't have Facebook, so share it.
Yeah, for those of you who didn't see, I credit Mommy Ju for allowing me to go on my first date. The date was, my dad did come though, so there's that. But basically, my dad was teasing me because it was in 2013 when everyone was coming to visit for Christmas, and everyone had just come in. And my dad, I had been asked out on a date, and I texted my dad. I was like, this guy asked me out. I kind of want to go out with him. And my dad was like, no, absolutely. And then he thought he was pulling a power card. He goes, fine, if Mommy Ju lets you go. He goes, you have to ask her. So he FaceTimes me because he's in Macleod and I'm still back in RSM. And he goes, go ahead, ask Mommy Ju. And I go, Mommy Ju, a boy asked me on a date, can I go? My dad said you have to give permission. And so my dad thinking like, okay, she's not gonna say yes. She goes, oh, absolutely, Raymond. She goes, were you not gonna let her experience that? And then she just starts reaming on my dad. And so then I did indeed get to go on a date. I think it was in a movie. My dad, actually no, my entire family came. But I did get to go on the date with the guy. And that is indeed thanks to Mommy Ju.
Thanks, Bree.
Thank you, Bree. See,
1
Tito
point,
Bogs.
Sabrina.
Bogs, baka may gusto kayo share.
Hi,
Nakamute ka,
Tito
Bogs.
Bogs. Baka I'm not sure kung may audio si Tito Bogs.
Bogs, nakamute yung mic mo.
To the video.
Wait, the last.
Yan.
Mi, ikaw gusto mag-share?
Hi, Tito Lily.
Hello.
Hello.
Later na lang ako mag-share.
Okay. Marami namang days pa.
Oo, marami pa.
Sige.
Baka maiyak ko eh.
Yan din sabi ni Mama eh.
Balik tayo sa Australia. Si Eli naman.
Okay.
Eli, Baka meron kang gusto i-share.
Go, Eli!
Go, Eli.
Um,
Those stupid shine.
back in the Philippines,
Okay.
when I used to go to school to Lourdes, every weekend, Tito Bong, which is Mommy Juice driver, would pick me up from my house and he dropped me off to Mommy Juice home. And sometimes we'd go out and go shopping. She'd always ask me, "Oh, do you want that? Oh, do you want anything?" And I'll be like, "Oh, no, I don't really want anything because I don't know."
Ayos yung magsalita, baka hindi nila maintindihan.
Baka hindi nga nila
I remember also, singit ako I remember also when Mommy Ju bought Eli a TV. Back then, nung when we were staying at RSG, she bought him a TV as, I don't know if it's a 22-inch or 21-inch TV. May kasama pang TV Plus yun.
Wow.
Yeah, yan niya kasi pag nasa house sila ni Mommy Ju, parati din siya nanonood doon. Eh kami wala kaming TV Plus noon. Just ano ba yun? Just an antenna TV. So Mommy Ju bought just a channel TV, and then Mommy Ju bought him that para makanood siya. So yeah, dyan siya favorite kasi yan ni Mommy Ju before.
Yeah.
Yes. Anything else, Kuya?
No, sabi.
That's
Pampered ni Mama too.
Hey, Luna, you want to add something?
no. No.
You're about to say something.
No.
Come on, say something about Mommy Ju.
Say something though about Mommy Ju. What do you remember? What? She buys you what? Nice coats. She buys you nice coats, right? Coats.
Loads.
Oh. Yeah.
Oo nga.
Okay. My request ay for Mama Rebby naman daw.
Yeah, since ngayon lang nag-attend si Mama Rebs.
Yung
Mama.
lakwacherang tandem.
It's so hard. Kasi iyak lang ako eh. I lost a friend. Kasama ko sa laughter, kasama ko sa iyak. I remember every Christmas, when we greet each other, Merry Christmas, pareho kaming iiyak. Every Christmas Eve. I wish I saw her. I will miss Mommy Ju.
We love you, Mama. Love you, Mama.
Thank you. I will pray for her always.
Thank you, Ma.
Thanks, Mama Rebs.
Thank you, Mama Rebs. Thank you.
All right, who else is in the call? Tito Roms, baka gusto niyo magkwento. Nakamute ang mic niyo, Tito Roms.
Hi, Auntie Lina. Hi, Tito Romy.
Nakaano ka ba?
Mute. Mute sila.
Nakamute yung mic.
Hindi.
Rico, can you manually unmute?
They have to unmute. I can only mute people.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. They're okay now.
Ah, there.
Juliet.
Sandali lang. Okay na ba?
Yes, Auntie Lina.
On the day that Juliet passed away, my 3 kids, Jay, Raymond, and Lorraine, came to our house to break the news. And we were shocked and we cried and we embraced each other for quite a long time. I really miss my sister, Juliet. Out of 11 sisters and brothers that we have, now we are only 2 left. One, Nelly in West Virginia. Now me is now in California. I remember the generosity and goodness of my sister every time we come to the Philippines. She treated us, people going home for a breakfast in a leading restaurant in San Juan or Makati. I remember that, and I will ever miss what she was doing to me and to my wife, Lina. I really pray for her, for the repose of his soul. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Romy.
Thank you, Tito Romy. How is that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tito
Partner ni
Romy.
Mami yan, Romeo and Juliet.
Tandem. Let us know if there's anyone else. I think we're gonna end today's session with Belly, my cousin. But of course, anyone else who wants to share today, we want to give you the opportunity to talk po.
Titi.
Tito Iti daw.
Wala palang choice.
Tangire.
Hindi pa tawa naman kami. Baka maiyak din kami dyan.
Other days, maybe Lorraine and Nina can share also.
Me, I can share something short lang rin.
Sige, go.
Or ano lang. Well, I said some stuff na yun nung cremation, but then medyo light lang. I remembered lang when Dad was saying his eulogy yesterday, he said nga na yung mga traits daw na papasa from Auntie Nelly to Mommy Ju, to the sister-in-laws. So for me naman yung nakita kong napasa was from Mommy G to Dad because we were with Dad and we were filling out some forms and then my dad kept saying, fill upan nyo yan, fill upan nyo yan. Tapos kami, Daddy, ano yung fill upan? It's you fill upan or fill out, ganyan. Tawa-tawa kami ni na mommy, ni na dad, ganyan. And then a few weeks after, nakalimutan na namin, we heard Mommy Ju, oh, fill upan nyo yan. Sabi namin, doon yan nakuha.
Sagot kayo. Pinagtatawa niyo.
I always remember Mommy Ju.
Ina, baka naman yung form is about a field trip, kaya kailangan ng field.
Baka.
Tagalog yun, Tagalog. Pildapan.
No, Dad.
Inaturo nyo sa daddy niyo yung barangay para doon magpaliwanag.
Okay, thank you. I think Belly can talk na if no one else will talk rin. And we have other days also. Thanks everyone for coming.
All right.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here and for continuing to love Mommy Ju.
Belly.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
All right. So, I am someone who, well, a lot of people might know this, but I tend to be very withdrawn and I get very shy. And Mommy Ju was one of the only people who I felt comfortable around. And she's someone who encouraged me to speak up because until now I have this habit where I talk very softly, and it was Mommy Ju who would encourage me to speak up. And before I get into what I wrote, I just have a little story. So, Mommy Ju and I, especially in the later years, ended up being very in touch with each other. So much so to the point wherein our feelings, we could empathize with each other and our emotions would sync up. We could cry at the same time. And I remember when it was my birthday, the first thing I did after showering and getting ready and dressed up, the first person I went to was Mommy Ju. I went to the other house and in my dress, and she just woke up, nakaduster pa siya, na pink, and then I was in pink. It was things like that, not even planned, and we'd go together and we'd just get each other. And as I've said, with being on the shyer side, there are different ways that I express how I love someone, and I do that through writing. And when it was the Christmas, the last Christmas we had with Mommy Ju in the house, I made her a letter, and I also gave her this rose in a dome because she loved flowers. And it's so funny that she loves flowers because it's she who makes the people around her bloom and really blossom. And I remember giving it to Mommy Ju. Mommy Ju, if I give this to you, baka umiyak ako. So I'll go now. And then the next day, Mommy told me, umiyak nga si Mommy Ju. And until now, the rose that I gave her is by her altar. And as what I'll talk about here in what I wrote. So yeah, I really prepared for Mommy Ju. Mommy Ju really has a way of making people at home. And Aliw really wouldn't be a home without Mommy Ju. I remember when they broke the news to me. Because Ate Ina goes to UP, so we don't always see her because she's doing rounds. But I always feel her with me. Well, they really had to prepare to tell me because when we stay with Mommy Ju, I'm the one who holds her hand. And Daddy gave me a rosary and told me to put it in her palm. And then the next day when I visited her, she was in the middle of asking, "Saan yung binigay ni Belly?" And it turns out she was looking for the rosary. So, Daddy went to me first, and he hugged me, and he said, "Wala na si Mommy Ju." And I just couldn't believe it. But as I'll talk about later, when someone loves you so much, they touch you and influence you in such a way that they live on in you. And another part that I didn't put in what I wrote is about how this is connected to Tangire. Hi Tita Iti, hi Tita Jovi. So again, I tend to be very shy and I don't trust a lot of people. But because Mommy Ju tries to adjust and make everyone feel at home, with the help of Mommy and Daddy, whenever there's a gathering, especially something in Gloria Maris, Mommy Ju knows to invite Tangire, Tan and Nagire. She always knows to invite them because she knows that they're one of the only people in my life who I trust and feel at home with. And that's just Mommy Ju. She'll do whatever she can to make you feel at home. So, while I'm normally very shy and I'm the kind of person who will talk mostly only when spoken to because I get very anxious very fast. Today I'm speaking up for Mommy Ju, and I really hope that she can hear me and hear all of us. So here it is, and this doesn't count the drafts. I really wanted to be prepared for her. So a home is not always a physical place, but oftentimes a home is truly defined by how the love and presence of someone changes the world around them. With this, not many people would have known what a home was, if not for Mommy Ju. She served as the strong and guiding cornerstone, the foundation who supported loved ones. And the warmth she sheltered people with just cannot be replicated by mere materials. So if love and presence define a home, then Aliw Street would just house a structure. For it was Mommy Ju who made it a home. Just as how the memories and reminders that we associate with home would be meaningless without the value she added. It is with effort and thoughtfulness that Mommy Ju can transform ingredients into dishes and desserts that can comfort a person when longing for the embrace of easing familiarity. It is with years of lovingly dedicating her time in the kitchen that dishes become synonymous to her and her legacy of welcoming others with open arms and turning closed gates into open sanctuaries for anyone who came across on Christmas Day. It is with dear sentiment that Mommy Ju can turn an empty room into a walk down devotion and memory lane. Over decades, a shelf has turned into an altar for the God whose faith has guided her. Every nook and cranny was laden with offerings from loved ones. With Mommy Ju, flowers, gifts, and among other items that may seem like mere objects to outsiders, now gain meaning as they were brought to her. Then a card or souvenir was no longer a feeble thing, but instead a testament and memory of love, with the way Mommy Ju treated it as such. With Mommy Ju, even the most foreign places can seem familiar, and not as daunting with her. For the world transforms into something so much more beautiful with her in it. Overwhelming yelling and chaos from busy Divisoria stretches would turn into exciting songs and stories, with Mommy Ju composing victory pieces with a bargain hard fought for. And she would be a magician in the way She controlled her own destiny as the 168 queen. Mommy Ju truly had a way of making others feel welcome and at home. And if she didn't, then she'd find a way somehow. Now comes the story of the mango tree. So, growing up, I loved ripe mangoes, the sweet yellow ones known as manggang kalabaw. As the house was under construction, I was so young that I had no memory of the old place or had any idea that it existed. All my life, I thought that the cinder block castles and gravel mountains served as the playground I grew up in and would grow up in all my life. So Mommy Ju wanted me to live in a place that was not just a new structure, but a space I would come to see as home. To do this, she had a mango tree planted for me. Over and over, she asked the seller, "Oh, kalabaw ba to?" to make sure it was the right kind that 4-year-old me would constantly gravitate to. I then waited at least 5 years for the tree to bear fruit and would spend many days going out to see if there were any kalabaw mangoes yet. Finally, well over half a decade, the fruits came and it was Indian mango. And it was just tragic. My by then I was 11 years old and I was just thinking why. But instead, Ate Ina was happy because she could eat the Indian mango with Mommy Ju's bagoong. So, well, after that, Mommy Ju still wanted me to feel at home. So many times I'd come back from school to see that she got me kalabaw mangoes from the province instead. So that was the magic of Mommy Ju. The way she managed to orchestrate simple comforts into the soundtrack and production of home, of her laughter and greetings, along with bounties of pasalubong. Another great testament to Mommy Ju's ability to both form homes and for her to embody a home in her own self is the way she used her thoughtfulness and effort to make any environment or situation as welcoming to others, no matter how many different individuals gathered together. Her attention to detail manifested into the varying spreads of food and the assortment of presents special to each and every person, depending on what they found comforting or enjoyable. With this, Mommy Ju raised us in a room with a fridge stocked with chocolates and sweets that each of us were drawn to. And for my case, she would come back from her adventures, not only with mangoes, but pastillas too, and interestingly, DVDs. While streaming is the norm of our technology-centric world today, my family and I got Netflix just a few years ago. When people asked what I watched, I was honestly so proud to tell them that I'd see pirated DVDs that Mommy Ju randomly got me. If ever the cover had something I would probably enjoy, like sharks, dinosaurs, SpongeBob, other cartoons, and more. The DVD player was a staple for me growing up. And even when streaming took the world by storm, I still found comfort in the collection of DVDs I'd rewatch time and time again. As we have all experienced in our own ways, Mommy Ju touched us all with her love and thoughtfulness. She in herself has been a beacon of comfort, and it was in Aliw Street that she made a home for her own self while still welcoming others from different walks of life. From tales of titos who grew up under Mommy Ju's wings, roof, and cooking, to longtime high school friends who danced through the decades with her, to her as a lola, mother, auntie, and more. Our different stories and paths come together through her love. With this, it is important to remember and to never underestimate the power of Mommy Ju's forgiveness. Not just anyone can handle the hardships she has gone through while still coming back to care for others who have once wronged her. While she can be gentle and caring, these aspects of her do not negate her strength, especially as a woman who stepped up to serve as the center and core of a family that could have fallen apart at the hands of betrayal. It is her love effort, and forgiveness that has allowed people of different countries and backgrounds to still have a link back to home. One of the many testaments to her strength is her journey to walking again. Mommy Ju had a major operation around 2019. I then came to visit her, and it was just the two of us alone together. So in the hospital room, even after the grueling operation, she had the empathy and care to sense my worry. And she asked how I was. Then the first of many tears shed came about. We embraced as I told her, akala ko mawawala ka na. I thought you'd be gone. At sabi ni Mommy Ju, nandito lang ako. I'm here. I pray to God that I stay here for you and the family. Kaya andito pa ako. Since then, Mommy Ju and I were even closer than before. So much so to the point that we could empathize and share our feelings with just a look to the other, or a hand to reach out and hold to sense, and to support. It even got to the point where people warned me to try not to cry, because Mommy Ju and I would naturally synchronize as two people connected to each other. So through the mental, physical, and so many other obstacles, Mommy Ju triumphed once again. After being told that she may not walk again, Mommy Ju powered through the pain. Then, about a year later, she went to a mass where the priest proudly told everyone that she, a woman of faith who was once unable to move on her own after an intense operation, could now walk with God. That is an integral part of Mommy Ju, the spirit that keeps her moving forward and fighting. So much so to the point that she did whatever she could to stay and face another day, as she feared yet fought against death. She was the Lola who constantly fought to live, and that is what made her chapter with the pacemaker and pneumonia that much more heartbreaking. As I held her hand, for the very first time, sinabi ni Mommy Ju, ayoko na. She could barely speak, and she was hooked up to an oxygen tank, and she used what was left of her voice to say, ayoko na. Pagod na ako. And in the end, she still managed to say or mouth, I love you, after I had to leave her room. So as Mommy Ju is a fighter, strong through and through, a part of battle is knowing when it is time, not necessarily to give up, but to know when to adapt and pursue another course of action. And it was her decision to move to the next chapter in realm of life. She stayed as she promised that day in the hospital, and she continued to be home for others even with the constant battles against pain. So, in another show of strength, she knew it was time to tap out. Now the loving Lola who would once hold me in her arms and keep me safe and comforted in her warmth was now being carried by me as a cold, cold urn that housed her ashes. Growing up, especially in the later years of life, I experienced horrors that to this day leave me scared and traumatized. With this, I often fear and flinch away from touch, far too scared to trust. Yet with Mommy Ju, she was one person I would go to in a heartbeat. I would bound straight to her room to see her by the chair placed by her window, and I would just sit on the floor, lay my head on her lap, and with smiles and laughs as a 20-something-year-old, she would embrace me in a strange yet routine way, because again, it was tall and gangly me, just there, sitting by the floor, hugging Mommy Ju's legs. So with this, when love is so strong that it embodies the innate sense of home and comfort like that of Mommy Ju's love, you are touched and influenced in such a way that she and her legacy live on in you. So from growing up feeling safe and cared for in the home of her love, it is important to do good and make the world more like a home and sanctuary so that others may know, care, and safety and love, and ultimately know home. As I have grown up telling stories of Mommy Ju to high school and college friends, of the Lola with magic leche flan, and the gentleness embodied by her Garfield collection, wonderfully contrasted by her strength and fighting spirit with her sword collection, I will remember her thoughtfulness in the way that she called and said thank you to the Tres Marias, Ate Kai Kai, Ate Ina, and I. And thank you to Mocha because I drew Mocha, our family dog who's now by Rainbow Bridge. And I would also remember the way she would happily just look at Mango and ask to fill up her water because she wanted all the dogs to be okay. So as her love can extend to others and house them in the shelter of a home, Mommy Ju is not confined to that cold urn, but is sharing her warmth and spirit with the loved ones who have gone before us. No longer does she face pain, and she'll keep dancing and smiling as always. Love you, Mommy Ju.
That's a nice one. James Mola.
Belly, that was so beautiful.
It's a good one.
Nice, Belly.
Thank you, Belly. That's episode 1 of season 1.
Love you, Daddy.
Dad!
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Belly. Very well
Belly,
said.
Belly, your English composition professor will probably give you A for that.
Belly set the bar for all for the next speakers.
Belly. It was so
A++.
nice, Belly.
Swerte yung mga nagsalita na.
Buti nga, tapos na ako. Joke.
Meron ako i-share before we go.
You weren't there. It's the first day.
Wag na.
To make things a little lighter before we all go. I remember growing up as a child, we have what you call a storage room, and to the US, I think that's called pantry. So Egay and I would usually raid that, because may mga nakatagong chocolate tablets, tablea from Batangas, and we would raid that. Those chocolate tablets are meant for the chocolate or chocolate A. But we would raid that, open it, and then eat it as it is. It's a dark chocolate flavored, and that's why Tito Egay and I really enjoy dark chocolates when we were older. But the story is, we never realized bakit ang dami naming nakastock na canned goods, food, everything in that storage room. There's a big drum filled with rice, So, we never questioned. Basta marami kaming food na nakastock. Until we came to the US and we went to 10 Willow Springs Estate. That's the house or the home of Tita Nelly and Tito Rizal. And we found a big pantry as well. Ang dami ring stocks. Parang sabi ko, is this a pattern na marami laging nakatago na food? And then shortly after, we went to, at that time, it wasn't Laclede yet. I think I forgot the street in LA, but
Armor?
Ardmore. So we went to the house of Tito Romy and Tita Lina, and through to today, even at Laclede, there's a pantry full of food, And then eventually, I eventually understood why. When one day, Auntie Luz, the mother of Tito Douglas, was explaining to me, they lived through the Japanese occupation. And during that time, food was rationed. and it was very difficult to buy. That's why whenever they get the chance, they really stock up on food. So it's like to them, it's like a doomsday apocalyptic scenario that every time they stock food. And talking of Egay's namamana, I think namana namin ni Egay yata yan. That's why we also stock up on everything until Arlene taught me not to. But I still stock up whenever I can. So I think that's the effect of living through the Japanese occupation. You know, it's like they have that line here in the Philippines, darating na yung mga Hapon. So you need to stock up on food. That's the idea there. So that's why if you still go to Laclede now, I haven't gone to West Virginia for the longest time, but if you go to Laclede now and you check the pantry of Tito Romy, it's like the extension of Costco. You have all the canned goods, the cheese, the butter, the toilet paper, you know. So if it's the last day on earth, you go there and you find supplies. All right. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Tita Ed.
Thanks, Ed. Hey, by the way, you know, Ed, when I finished my basement, I actually put in a Costco closet, I called it. So so when I go shopping at Costco, everything goes in there.
But I tell you what, Nina, it was thanks to your idea that I actually built one too.
Actually, yeah. Now I suddenly realize as well. You know, if you go to RSM at Trey's house, it's not far from Laclede's pantry room. You know, you'll find everything as well.
Yes.
Yun lang, na-share ko lang. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I'm excited to hear other stories. I know si Tito Bogs, ayan, nilista ko na sila Tito Bogs, Kuya Ian, may sasabihin yan in the following days. Baka si Tito Douglas din, baka may gustong sabihin. And the Madrigals. In the coming days, we're excited to hear your stories. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Just want to clarify for the US. Just want to. Okay, just want to clarify for the US, we don't have tomorrow, so it's Monday. Okay, because it's technically Sunday in the Philippines. We set the schedule, so just to remind, no, don't wake up too early tomorrow. It's on Monday pa. Thank you, 5 a.m. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Salamat sa mga
Bye.
nag-share. Thank
Happy
you.
weekend.
Angelina.
Bye.
Thank you. Oh, Tito Romy, Angelina. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Daming supplies.
Bye.
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 Say bye.
Thank you.
Oh,
Tita Bingbing, thank
Tito
you.
Romy, Angelina, Ray, Lorraine, Jay, thank you sa pinadala nyo. Malaking tulong. Thank you very much.
Edit, this is Nina. Edit, remember you were asking about the wedding dress that got shipped to the States and got lost?
Yes.
I remember who it was.
What was it?
It was my cousin Joji on my dad's side, on the Pangilinan side. So she had her wedding dress and all the bridesmaids' dresses made, and the bridesmaids' dresses made it because I was one of the bridesmaids. But the wedding dress didn't make it, and your mom had, I think she had another dress like emergency made for her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like, wait, I remember this story. I'm like, why do I remember this story? And I was thinking about it, and I was gonna text her, but she's in Antarctica on an expedition right now. So
wow.
I didn't want to text her. So
it was your cousin on your dad's side.
yeah, it's Tita Butch Pangalinan's, my dad's brother's daughter, when she got married back in 80. It's like 80,
86.
86 maybe?
Okay, thanks for that info, Nina.
Sure, no
Oh,
problem.
I know, I don't have to ask Joy. It ended up with Joy.
Nina, that's good. At least now we know that Edith is not imagining things. You know, for a while we got worried there.
I told you so.
You're not crazy, Edit. You're not crazy.
Sometimes only. All right. Thank you for saving me, Nina.
Oh, sure, no problem. Anytime. Anytime.
Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.
See you
Bye-bye.
tomorrow.
Monday for those-
Bailey,
Hey, Luna.
Love you. Bye.
Bye, guys. I'll be
Bye.
ending the call.
See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Hi, Carol. Rico.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye, Edith.